On time. Mina, how are you? You have your books up. You're ready to go. Your Duke's up. We have an interesting conversation today. How are you?
Book one, Four Horsemen. Book two, Four Horsemen. Book three is up and being sold, but we're trying to do the wraparound for book three, although the cover's done. And book four is finished, and we're waiting on a cover. Yippee
Okay.
skippy.
All
But
right.
um,
Yeah.
we have a lot to talk about in the meantime, don't we?
Absolutely. So our topic today is scandals at the opera. Love, luxury, and high society on display. Why was the opera such an important social hub during the Regency and Georgian era periods?
It was a place to see and be seen. Uh, there, they had boxes that they sold, and so it was a almost expected that the higher echelon of the aristocracy would have their own box. Uh, but down in the gallery, the poorer or the not necessarily poor, but people of less means could buy tickets and sit on the floor. The seating was like benches, and then they would try to cram pack like 10 or 12 people on a bench, um, and then during intermission or during their breaks, people that were dressed to the nines, they would go downstairs and with the intent of buying a glass of champagne, but it really was to check around and see who was there, uh, and gossip a little bit if they could. There was a lot of there were scandals that happened from time to time with people sneaking in and out of other people's boxes, which was kind of funny. Um, you know, they there was a curtain or a door, and then there was curtains in between the boxes, so somebody could slip in, um, do their do the wild thing, and then slip out. The problem was that often they would be caught coming in or out of the other person's box. So there was always some kind of a gossip going around. But the theater was a great way to get out and see and be seen.
How did seating arrangements and private boxes reflect wealth, rank, and influence?
Well, I've already kind of talked about that. Um, the wealthy, there were people like a viscount. He's low rank in the aristocracy, but he could be filthy rich. He could be much more wealthy than the guy that was a marquis. Um, and so when they were out in the marriage mart shopping around for a mate, sometimes the amount of money one of these single men from the aristocracy, uh, the more money they had, the more eligible they were. Uh, but as far as theater boxes go, that kind of went with rank and wealth. The wealthier of the aristocracy could buy the better boxes. But you know, this was a time in England of industrialization, and the middle class, they were closing the ranks. A lot of men made a lot more money in business than some of these men that were in the aristocracy. So it was an odd time. There was a lot of ambivalence and animosity uh, between those two classes. A wealthy man of the business class could have a box right next to a marquee. I don't, and they might not even speak to each other. Now, in the books that you read of historical romance novels, you'll see a lot of that intermingling. It really was not all that common because of the ingrained uh, beliefs on the part of the aristocracy that they were too good. But if they had not branched off from tenant farming to other means of income, they were destined to be part of the impoverished aristocracy. They had to learn to adapt, and a lot of them weren't good at that because a lot of them never worked.
And we've talked about this many times about the secret romances and affairs. What role did fashion and display play in the making of the opera a kind of stage for
Uh,
society itself?
oh my gosh. You had to be dressed to the nines. And just like the box spoke of the man's wealth, a woman was judged by the design and the material, and the, uh, that made a big difference in her eligibility. If she looked the part, she had a much better chance of hooking herself up with a wealthy man from the aristocracy. Fashion was very important, very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And fashion is an important thing to make to get to make your mark. Can you share a famous opera night scandal that rocked high society?
Oh gosh, I can't think of any right offhand. I can dig one up for you, but I can tell you that a lot of scandals were evolved around the younger opera singers. They became mistresses for a lot of the wealthy. And a lot of times when the man decided it was time for him to move on, he usually gifted her with something, a piece of jewelry, or some of the wealthier ones would even give her a little townhouse or something. But if she was not satisfied with that, she could cause so much trouble, and there would be all kinds of stuff in the paper about their breakup.
Mm.
It was one thing to have a mistress. It was something else to have to read about it in the paper.
Okay, all right. Let's go to the next question. How does the role of theater, concerts, or even red carpet events today compare to the opera's place in the Regency culture?
It's the exact same thing. The exact same thing. The wealthy and well-to-do, for grand openings of any kind, you'll see them decked out to the nines, and there's a lot of competition in the dress. Um, there have been a lot of scandals in Hollywood because a designer used the same pattern for two different women, and they ended up seeing each other. It was not good. But you see it all the time. And I think what's interesting is you'll go to a place like Dallas. Okay, that's too way too affluent. Let's take Dayton, Ohio. All right, you take the affluent from Dayton, Ohio, and they're going to, strut their stuff, and I'm going to one up you. But then you take them and put them in a Dallas opening, and they're like the cheap seats, you know. Uh, so it depends on what fishbowl that you were born in. You know, were you born in an aquarium, or were you born in a little tiny kitchen, one seater swim around bowl? because the bigger the bowl, the more chance of seeing big fish, little fish, fancy fish. And if you have a small bowl, you might be able to show yourself off as a fish, but then you put them in the aquarium and they just blend in. They're not noticed. The same thing happens today. The same thing. I've seen it so many times in different parts of society, where different areas of the country where I've lived. It tickles me seeing them strut their stuff, but let's put them somewhere else and see how they do.
Absolutely. All right. And the best place to go to purchase your book and learn more about, just go to minavalentine.com and purchase the books today. All right. All right. You're listening to the special simulcast